The air hung heavy and still. The only sound was the drip, drip, drip of water, each drop an echo in the silence. This was a place forgotten, a subterranean chamber buried deep beneath the skeletal remains of a once great cathedral, the weight of centuries pressed down, the air thick with the scent of damp stone and decaying parchment. Light, pale and ethereal, filtered down from a crack in the vaulted ceiling far above. It illuminated motes of dust dancing in the gloom and cast long, distorted shadows that seemed to writhe and twist like living things. The floor was uneven, littered with broken flagstones and crumbled mortar. Each step was a hazard, a journey into the unknown. The walls were a tapestry of time. Here, smooth and cold, the remnants of expertly hewn stone. There, rough and broken, the raw earth threatening to reclaim what was stolen from it. And everywhere the symbols. Carved into the stone, etched into the very fabric of the chamber, were the symbols. They were ancient, their meanings lost to time, spirals and whorls intertwined with crude figures and shapes that defied easy categorization. Were they warnings, prayers, or something else entirely, something far more unsettling? Some were painted, the pigments faded, but still clinging to the rough surface. Ochre and indigo swirled together, hinting at scenes now lost to the ravages of time. Faded images of robed figures, strange beasts and constellations long vanished from the night sky. The paintings were like whispers from the past, tantalizing glimpses into a forgotten world. And then there were the handprints, dozens of them, scattered across the walls like the desperate pleas of prisoners long gone. Large and small, some mere smudges, others perfectly preserved, as if burned into the stone itself. Each one a silent testament to the passage of time, to the countless souls who had stood in this very chamber, their breath misting in the chill air, their hearts pounding in the darkness. The silence was a living presence, broken only by the drip of water and the sound of one's own breath. It pressed down, stifling and absolute. But beneath the silence, if one listened closely, there were whispers, faint, almost imperceptible, like the rustle of silk on stone. They seemed to emanate from the symbols themselves, as if the very walls were trying to speak. Whispers of forgotten rituals, of ancient pacts, of a power that lay dormant, waiting to be awakened. It was impossible to discern their meaning, yet the very sound sent shivers down the spine. The air grew colder, the shadows deeper. It was as if the chamber itself were watching, waiting for the unwary to stumble and reveal their true intentions. There was a presence here, something ancient and powerful, something that watched from the shadows. At the far end of the chamber, bathed in the faintest of light, stood the vault. It was an imposing structure, wrought from iron and twice the height of a man. The metal was dark, almost black, as if it had absorbed the very essence of the surrounding darkness. It was intricately worked, covered in glyphs and sigils that seemed to writhe and shift in the flickering light. The vault door was a single slab of iron, its surface etched with glowing inscriptions. The light pulsed with a life of its own, casting dancing shadows across the chamber. It was mesmerizing, hypnotic, drawing the eye and holding it captive. The inscriptions seemed to writhe and shift, as if trying to convey some hidden message. The vault stood as a silent sentinel, guarding its secrets from the passage of time. What lay within its depths? What treasures, what horrors did it conceal? The answer, it seemed, lay just beyond reach, tantalizingly close, yet impossibly distant. Section 5. Echoes of the Abyss. The floor of the chamber was uneven, broken in places, revealing glimpses of a deeper darkness below. A chasm yawned open, its edges disappearing into the impenetrable gloom. The air that rose from the abyss was stale and cold, carrying with it the scent of decay and something else, something ancient and unnameable. Scattered across the floor were the remnants of past explorations, Broken lamps, their oil long since dried, cast grotesque shadows on the walls. Tattered scrolls, their ink faded to near invisibility, hinted at forgotten knowledge and bones. Human bones picked clean and scattered like so much debris. A grim reminder of the price of curiosity. The chasm seemed to pulse with a life of its own, a dark reflection of the vault that stood sentinel at the opposite end of the chamber. One promised knowledge, the other oblivion. And caught between the two, the echoes of the abyss whispered their secrets, tempting the unwary to venture too close. Section 6. Through a glass darkly. In the far corner of the chamber, half hidden in shadow, stood a tarnished silver mirror. Its surface was clouded with age, the silver blackened and pitted. Yet, as one approached, a faint glimmer of light appeared within its depths. Not a reflection of the chamber itself, but something else entirely. The image in the mirror was hazy, indistinct, like a half-remembered dream. It showed a city, but not one familiar to history. Towers of glass and steel pierced a sky filled with swirling stars, and strange, winged creatures soared between them. The mirror offered a glimpse into a reality that existed outside of time and space, a reality where the impossible was not only possible but commonplace. It was a tantalizing glimpse into a world beyond imagining, and yet at the same time it filled the viewer with a profound sense of unease. Section 7. The Watcher in the Shadows. A flicker of movement at the edge of vision, a whisper of cloth on stone. In the depths of the chamber, shrouded in shadow, stood a figure. It was tall and thin, its form concealed beneath a heavy hooded cloak. The hood was pulled forward, obscuring its features, but a pair of eyes, cold and calculating, glinted from within the darkness. The figure did not move, did not speak. It simply stood there, watching, its presence as palpable as the cold stone walls themselves. Was it a guardian, placed here to protect the secrets of the vault, or something else, something far more sinister? The air grew colder, the silence heavier. The figure's presence seemed to suck the very air from the chamber, making it difficult to breathe. It was a harbinger of things unseen, a reminder that in this place nothing was as it seemed. Section 8. When the Stars Align. On the wall opposite the vault, almost lost in the gloom, was a mural. It was massive, covering the entire wall from floor to ceiling. The colors were faded, the figures barely discernible, yet the sheer scale of the work was breathtaking. It depicted a celestial event, a conjunction of stars unlike any recorded in human history. At the center of the mural, surrounded by swirling constellations and celestial beings, was a single sentence. It was written in a language both familiar and alien, the letters twisting and contorting like living things. The sentence was short, a mere 7 words, yet it pulsed with an energy that seemed to crackle in the air. When the stars align, the vault shall be unsealed. The prophecy hung in the air, heavy with portent. It was a warning, a promise, and a threat, all rolled into one. The vault, it seemed, was not meant to remain sealed forever. A time would come when its secrets would be revealed, and the world would tremble before its power. Section 9. A Legacy of Blood. Lying open on the floor as if dropped in haste was a journal. The leather cover was cracked and dry, stained with what looked like blood. The pages were brittle with age, the ink faded but still legible. It was written in a spidery hand, the words filled with a sense of urgency and dread. The first entry sent a chill down the spine. They called it the Whispering Vault, it began. And they said it held the key to ultimate power, but some secrets are best left buried. The journal was a chronicle of obsession, a desperate attempt to make sense of the unspeakable. It spoke of rituals and sacrifices, of forbidden knowledge and the terrible price of power. It was a warning from beyond the grave, a legacy of blood and madness, and it hinted at a truth so terrible, so ancient, that it threatened to shatter the very foundations of reality.